now we are on video 2, and before you go on to this part for the final, I'd like for you to go ahead and check your answers. So for 3,876 plus 421, you would get this answer. Here is the answer for 400 minus 68, and the answer for 43 times 46, and the answer for 625 divided by 5. Please stop the video and replay if you're not sure why you might have missed those problems. Okay? We're going to move on, and we're going to go ahead now and we're going to talk about for the final, for operations, you're also going to have to know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. Some common mistakes that we notice is that sometimes we put our numbers in the wrong place value. We're not lining up decimals with adding and subtracting and division. A lot of times we might have fact errors, borrowing from zeros, lining up numbers and decimal incorrectly with multiplication. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try one together. So we're going to do 23 and 4/10 plus 3 and 87/100. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rewrite the problem vertically. So I'm going to write my first number, 23 and 4/10, and I'm going to add 3 and 87/100. Since it is an addition problem, I want to line up my decimals. So I'm going to line up the 3 here. My decimals are lined up. My 8 goes here, and my 7 goes here. I'm going to draw my equation sign, or my equal sign, to add. And because I don't have anything here, but I have a digit here, I might want to put 0 as a placeholder, and that could just make sure that I am adding and my numbers are all lined up a little bit better. So 0 plus 7 gives me 7. 8 plus 4 gives me 12. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then 2 plus nothing is a 2. And I'm going to just take that decimal point and I'm going to put it right down here because I'm lining it all up. Okay? You can also, if it makes you feel better, you could have put a placeholder there as well, because a 0 is not going to change the number or the value. Okay? All right. Next one, and we'll circle our answer. The next one that we see is 104 or 104 and 6/10 minus 23 and 14/100. So we're going to go ahead and write our number 104 and 6/10 minus 23 and 14/100. So one of the common mistakes that, one of the common mistakes that I often see is students taking this and not realizing that I have to borrow, but just putting the number 4 here. So please always remember, whenever you are doing this, you are always better off if you put a 0 as a placeholder there, okay? So now 0 minus 4 I cannot do, so I'm going to have to borrow. So this becomes a 5, this becomes a 10. Okay, whoops, make sure that looks like a 0. So 10 minus 4 is 6. 5 minus 1 is 5. 4 minus 3 is 1. I cannot do 0 minus 2, so I have to borrow. So this becomes a 10, and this becomes an 8. So 81 and 56/100 would be my correct answer. I can always check it by adding these two. Okay? Whoops. The next thing that I'm going to do is multiplication with decimals. And we talked about this before, how a lot of times it makes it easier if I line up the digits. I don't want to line up the decimal points. So to make it easier, I'm going to take my decimals out of the problem and just write it as if it were a whole number problem. So 3.25, I'm going to just write it as 325 times 18. Once I get my digits in place, now I can put my decimals back in. But we always want to line them up with our digits. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solve as if it's 325 times 18. Once I get my answer in, then I'll put my decimals back in. So 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 plus 4 is 20. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 2 is 26. And I've already just did this times 8, so now I'm going to do this number times 1, so I'm going to put a 0 here. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. And now I'm going to go ahead and add it. Okay? Notice I haven't put any decimals in my work yet. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. 6 plus 2 is 8. 2 plus 3 is 5. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look and see where would it make sense for me to put my decimal. So if I look at my whole number, I have 3 times 1, and 3 times 1 is 3. So it would make sense for this to be a single digit whole number. So my decimal point is going to go right here. So I can also check it by looking that I have 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal. So I want 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal. Okay? For our last problem that we're going to do today is dividing with decimals. And division with decimals is kind of like multiplication, whereas I'm going to go ahead and write the problem, 546. I'm taking the decimal out and just writing it like a whole number problem. Once I have it written, I'm going to put my decimal back in, carry it straight up to where my quotient, my answer is going to be, and then I just start dividing. So 5 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. I'm going to bring down the 4. 2 goes into 14 7 times. That goes in evenly. So when I subtract, I'll get a 0, but I still have a digit to carry down. And 2 goes into 6 3 times. And 3 times 2 is 6. And I do not have a remainder, so I am finished. Final answer, 2 73 hundredths. Okay? All right. What I'd like for you to do is to go ahead and try these 4 problems with decimals on your own. Stop it if you need to along the way. And then when you are finished, you can go to video 3 and check it.